How is everybody doing today? How are you? I hope you can hear me all right. This is Dr. E. Michelle Mickens, the CEO of Live for Change. Live for Change is a global strategic corporate social responsibility and leadership development consultancy. What we primarily focus on is how do we help the leader, no matter what stage you're in, how do we help you where you are now to become the leader that you desire to be? So one of the things that I wanted to focus on today is the fact that this month is Stress Awareness Month. April is Stress Awareness Month. Thank you for joining. And listen, I'm trying to figure out how to multitask here. So one of the things that I want to encourage you to do is invite your followers. I want to say hello to all of my replay viewers. I appreciate you guys so much. And we're going to get this show started. You know, I don't care what I do. I always forget to invite my followers. So I'm doing the best that I can while I talk to you guys. I'm not going to be very long, but I wanted to, again, just hop on and share a couple of things. Excuse me, if you follow me on social media, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I have a Facebook business page. And I've been posting a lot about the impact of fear and uncertainty and doubt. Many of you all who follow me hear me talk about the FUD syndrome. And this is such a very real, but yet it's a very stigmatized circumstance for leaders in particular. I am talking to leaders. I really am concerned about how do you deal with stress. Now, again, taking advantage of the opportunity this month being the Stress Awareness Month, my question to you as a leader, how are you dealing with stress? Now, many would argue that, thank you for joining, Seabass 2, so glad that you're here. Many would agree, many would even argue that there's a certain amount of stress that is necessary. There's a certain amount of stress that we have to deal with. And from a leadership point of view, many people expect leaders to be able to deal with stress. I agree with that. I really agree that part of the job, it's par for the course, right? You are going to have to deal with stressful situations. But this is the challenge. This is where it goes from being just an expectation on leaders to a weight and a burden. And this is when the leader is feeling inundated, when the leader is developing behaviors that's no longer considered acceptable. What am I talking about? When you're dealing with high levels of stress, oftentimes the leader doesn't even realize the changes that's occurring in their behavior. I'm talking about you find yourself being argumentative, very defensive. You aren't engaging with your team as much as you need to or ought to. In other words, you're finding yourself giving and barking out directives, and you're not really consulting with the team. Not that you have to consult with them, but you want to engage and show them how valuable they are. But they become excluded from a lot of your decision making because the stress of what the outcome is, the stress of the expectation on you far outweighs your ability to really engage other people in conversations that's necessary for them to execute the things that needs to be done. So you find yourself being bossy, right? That's a word that's used. There are other words, but we'll stick with bossy. You might even find yourself behaving in a dictatorship, that's the word, dictatorship type of a manner. And again, you're excluding the team from being a part of some of the decisions that, again, will impact them. They find that you aren't easy to talk to, that you withdraw, and you become like either a recluse or you're just missing in action. And these are just a small area or little things that happen when leaders are under a lot of stress. Another thing that happens that, and again, it's not always discussed, is unethical behavior. Corruption, moral corruption. That happens often when leaders are under a great deal of stress to perform well. So I'm here to share a little bit of insight to really talk about, again, a program that I created that's called the Bust the Fuds Syndrome, because this is a great tool to help leaders not only deal with stress, because stress can trigger fear. Stress can cause you to be uncertain about decisions that you're making, and stress can cause you to be doubtful about your ability to lead well. And so we're talking about how to overcome the FUD syndrome that's associated with high levels of stress. And busting the FUDs is critical if you're going to be effective, because many organizations are dealing with stagnation. They're dealing with high turnover. They're dealing with the inability to retain and attract the right kind of talent, because often it's the leader. The leader has created an atmosphere that's very toxic. It's hard to work for a leader who has that dictatorship type of mindset. It's hard to serve and work with people who have a tendency to bark and not listen, who aren't engaging, and who actually isolates themselves from the rest of the team, from everyone else that's involved, again, with trying to execute a strategy. So, Bust the FUD Syndrome. I just want to talk to you about this program very briefly. It's an audio digital download. It contains a workbook. The workbook is a phenomenal workbook, and it's not just because I made it, but because I know it works. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Here's the workbook that goes along with the audio series. It's about 10 sessions. And in each session, it goes over in detail the issues or the workbook, all of the different worksheets that are in the workbook. There are analysis in this workbook. So this is not just a typical workbook where you kind of read through and listen to the audio pieces. No, this is a very, very engaging workbook because it requires you to do work that's going to help you get through identifying and creating an analysis of your own. What's causing you to behave this way? What are your triggers? What are the issues that's causing stress? And then how are you dealing with it? How do you eradicate it? And so going through this workbook, there is an opportunity for you to do a SWOT analysis, not on the team, but for yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? It's important to list them out. It's not enough just to know it in your head, but to list and identify what these are, and then begin to create a plan of action on how you're going to increase your strength, to change your weaknesses to strengths, to look at your opportunities, and can you look at threats as opportunities? So it's a great tool to have you take from what is stuck in your head, put it on paper, and again, come up with a plan of action that's going to make a difference, not just in yourself, but how you treat your team. Because you need the people to help move and push forward the processes to accomplish the goals. There is a scenario analysis for dealing with fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And often people aren't, when you're stuck in a crisis or you're dealing with a lot of stress and you're dealing with a lot of issues and crises, it's difficult to find solutions. This workbook has at least 2 activities that's designed to help you create solutions. One is for your personal growth, and the other is for you and your organization. Doing a scenario analysis. It's not a full-blown scenario planning process, because that truly takes a lot of time. It can take a whole weekend just to go through a very comprehensive scenario planning process. However, dealing with and coming up with just an analysis gives you a chance to think about the future of your organization. It challenges you to look at the trends that's going on in your industry And then you create a matrix. It's just a 4x4 matrix, a very small matrix that again is designed to get the juices flowing, to get you and your team to begin to think about what's currently working, what are we doing right in our industry, and what do we need to change as we're looking forward in the future. So instead of getting stressed out about what's changing and not being able to keep up, you're taking a proactive initiative, a proactive stance, and you're saying, you know what? These are the things that we were doing, but because of the changes in the industry, we need to rethink about why we're doing it this way. And engage your people. They have ideas because they're dealing with it every day. They're dealing with and seeing all of the changes that are occurring in the industry. This, I said 4x4, it's a 2x4 matrix. You get to write out very clear steps on what are some of the changes that we need to make as we do our strategic planning for the future. So again, you're taking the triggers that's typically causing stress and you're actually shifting, sitting down, having a brainstorming session and really hashing out at least 2 or 3 different types of steps, clear steps that you can take that's going to move your organization forward. That's scenario planning. Well, actually, it's a scenario analysis that can set up a true scenario planning session. So again, that's in this workbook. As a bonus, I've created a 30-day journal. The 30-day journal is set up to help you individually. It not only has the prompts that's asking very specific questions and helping you to think about or rethink about what is causing that fear, what is causing you to be so stressed out, but it challenges you to start writing out your own solutions. When you engage and really take advantage of writing out what's going on in your journal, you're going to feel more empowered. Because now, instead of just talking about or thinking about or wallowing in the stress, you're actually having an opportunity to do something about it. You're busting the fear. You're busting uncertainty. You're busting doubt. You're busting the FUDs. I know, it's a little corny, but it's effective and it works. So there's a link in the description bar, www.linktree/Live for Change LLC. And there are several links when you go to Linktree, but choose the one that's it says bust the FUDs. Because again, stress is killing so many powerful people. And for whatever reason, many operate in fear to the degree where they want to sweep their issues under the rug. Well, now it's time to deal with it. Instead of sweeping or pretending like everything is okay, deal with the fact that everything isn't okay today, but you're making the changes that are necessary so that you don't have to be inundated. Hello, thank you for joining. You don't have to be inundated with the stress. It's time for change. It's time to make the difference. Acknowledge that there's stress in your life that's causing you to behave or causing you to feel overwhelmed. Acknowledge it, but then do something about it. Click the link in the bio. In addition to me having this tool that's very effective to helping you bust fear, uncertainty, doubt, and other issues that occur that holds you back as a leader, I have blogs that I've written. I want you to check out my blogs. Join the email list at liveforchangellc.com. Join our email list. There is a sample, a free 7-day Bust the FUDs journal, 7-day journal that you can have just simply by joining the email list. My goal is not to try to just sell something or just to get your email address. No, not at all. Because that's happening and God is good. He's faithful. But my concern is, what can I offer you that's effective, that's going to make the change in your life so that you can be more effective as a leader with your team? Many, many leaders are dealing with such stress. They don't want to talk about it. Women deal with stress differently than men because the expectations are, just because of our gender, the expectations aren't even comparable. They're not equal. You talk about dealing with inequality. Even the expectations aren't equal. And often we will overcompensate in so many ways to demonstrate our ability to absorb and deal with stress. But what happens is causing heart issues. It's causing us to go into deep depression. And we find temporary ways to try to deal with tremendous amounts of stress that's really taken us out prematurely. Again, click the link in the bio. I'm providing tools that will help you effectively make the change in your life so that you can continue to be productive, so that you can continue to accomplish the goals for your organization, and that you can continue to build up your team and not weigh them down with the same things that's weighing you down. I'm Dr. E. Michelle Mickens, the CEO of Live for Change. Please check out the link in the bio if you want to learn more about who I am, what I do. But understand, there are tools available to you to help you live for change. Blessings to you. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for your time. Replay viewers, God bless you. Take care. Have a great day.